Welcome to Slacker Gaming, and welcome to the channel where you can learn some things you might not have already known about ARK. And in this episode, we are going to go over an easy taming pin. Now, the reason I want to go over this is because I want to show you what I did, how easy it is to make this, and then how much you're going to use it, because you can use this taming pin for just about everything that you're going to want to tame. So I want to go over how I made the taming pin, how it's useful. If you'd like to watch that, stick around. So as always, this is a learning channel, so I want to kind of go along with you as we're building this. So what we need to know first is, what do we want to tame and what's going to fit inside of this taming pin. So if you're wanting to tame little things like doedicruses or ankylosauruses or whatever those things are, then you're not going to need as big as a pin as I am making here. But if you're wanting to do rexes, brontos, brachiosauruses, anything like that, this pin will work, and this pin will be big enough to keep them inside of the pin, and so that they can't basically escape by just jumping over the pin. So the next thing we need to know is how we can tame them quickly. So with this build, you're seeing all of the things I'm putting in here. It's going to have to be big enough to where we could put the behemoth dinosaur gates on. If we could put the behemoth dinosaur gates on, then we can get just about everything into this pin. The only thing that we're kind of missing out on is any flying animals or any flying dinosaurs, but we could also add a little extra to it if we wanted to capture them. But in this video, I didn't really want to mess with that, because then that's like a whole nother build and how you get them in there and stuff like that. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to try to tame anything that'll fit in here, including rexes, brontos, anything basically that we can fit in here. Any of the things smaller than those can also fit in here as well. Now we're going to go over how to build them and capture them. So what we're going to do is, as you can see here, as I'm building it up, you want to make sure that everything is stone. And this is because if it is wood or thatch or whatever, some of the animals that get in there could break that down or could destroy walls, and then they can run out or whatever. So you want to make sure that it's stone, because not a lot of dinos can destroy stone currently. So we want to make sure we're doing it in stone, and then we're also wanting to make sure that we're doing windows instead of walls. And the reason being is we might have to be outside the pen shooting in to try to trank whatever animal or whatever dino we want. And so in order to do that, we need to make sure that we have the windows open, and the windows are good to shoot through to trank the animals. I also love using the door, because the door allows you to run in the pen and run out of the pen while the dino is still in the pen, and then we can keep that door open and kind of walk in, trank the dino, walk out, reload, trank the dino, kind of keep doing that back and forth. And that is, to me, is the easiest way of doing it. Every once in a while, again, we have to use windows just because the dino is too quick or too aggressive or whatever and can attack us through the door. Kind of like raptors and stuff are a little more hard to do that from. But and the bigger ones like the brontos and stuff, like those, you want to shoot through the windows just because they're so big and they're in there that you can kind of just shoot through any window and be able to tag them. So how we're actually going to get them into the pen: you need the behemoth gate, you need the windows or the walls or whatever up, so that way they can't run out. But you're going to open up the behemoth gate, you're going to take the dino, you're going to aggro them, you're going to bring them to the front of the pen where the gate is open. Then what you're going to do, if you are on foot, you're just going to kind of tag them, make sure they're following you in, and then you're going to run out the backside of the taming pin in the door that we have open, and then you're going to turn around and run to the front of it and close the gate. If you're playing solo, you're going to have to do all this by yourself. If you're playing with some group of friends or whatever, they can shut the gate behind the dino, but you want to make sure you get to the front and shut the dino gate before starting to tame the dino. So that basically, it closes the gate, and now the dino is stuck in the pen. And if you want to trank it once, it'll go crazy and try to get out, and if it can't, then you're good, you built it right, and we can go ahead and start getting them. If you're going in there with a dino, or I wouldn't suggest going there with a dino, I would suggest going in there with like a flyer, like a pterodon, an RG, anything like that. You could just simply fly in there, kind of chill, let the dino follow you in, and then fly out the top, and the dino's basically stuck. You just have to come around again to the front of the gates and close them to capture the dino inside. So now that we've captured the dino inside, we're going to basically tame them by setting on the outside. Now, what I did in this was I built a couple of pedestals, or a standing box, whatever you want to call it, above the ground. And the reason so is because where we are at, there's a lot of Troodons, and I don't want to mess with Troodons while trying to trank a Bronto or a T-Rex or anything. I don't want anything messing up with us. And the other is like there's just aggressive Theros, all that stuff right next to us. So I wanted to make sure we're up off the ground so that we don't have to worry about getting hit by any of those things, because if you know Troodons, they hit you once and you knock out, you go 9-9. So you want to make sure that you're not being attacked while trying to trank something in the pin. So that's a good suggestion there. Some people trank from birds. I've just found that it's a little tough because, one, someone's got to fly you up there, and two, some of the hitboxes when on flyers is a little wonky and a little off. So what I did is I just made these pedestals. I get on them, climb the ladder, get up on top, and then shoot into the pin. The other thing is if the dino is small, like say a direwolf, as you can see we're doing direwolves, I use the door that I ran through to open it and keep it open, and I kind of run up and down the little ramp there and trank the direwolves that way. So that's another way you can do it, and you won't have to use the window walls that we have in place, but it is another way of doing it. After we've done that, after we've tranked them, they go down inside the pin, and sometimes they'll fall, their body will be outside the pin, but they should not be able to be touched outside the pin. You can also not access them outside the pin, and since we don't want to open up the big dino gate and possibly let a dino in to attack it, we go in the gate again that we built for ourselves to run out of. We go in that door, then we can give it whatever we need, whether it's narcotics to keep it out, or give it meal berries or kibble, whatever we need to give the dino to get it tamed. Then once it's all tamed, once it's good, once you've named it, then we're going to open up the big dino, the big behemoth gate, and we're going to walk it out if we have a saddle for it. If we don't, just have it follow you out. It should be fine, and you're going to take it to your base and make sure you heal it up and everything. One thing I will tell you is this one is outside of our base, so it's kind of secluded. It's easy to get to, but the only thing is, well, sometimes some of the dinosaurs we want to get are not close to our base. And so in that fact, we can build this basically anywhere. You can make different types of pins to try to capture these, and I'll show you that now. So this one, we are actually trying to tame a T-Rex, a very high level T-Rex, and we are way far away from home. There's no way this T-Rex is getting back to our home, to our pin, to try to do it. And so what we did is we took 4 behemoth gates, 4 behemoth gateways, or whatever, the doors for them. And what we did is we kind of built it in. We built the 3. We try to get the T-Rex inside, and then we close the gate on the 4th one. So you basically build a box. You lure him just like the one I showed you before. You lure the dino in. Once it's in there, you go out the top or out the side or whatever. You're probably going to have to do it with the flyer because you're going to need to get out the top, because if you open the door, the Rex is going to run through after you. So you want to make sure that the 3 gates are closed. You want to go in the 4th gate, then fly out the top. Once the Rex is in there, then get back to the 4th gate and close it on the Rex. And then boom, shoot it from down above. You see here where we kind of have it. If you have a flyer and you're kind of solo, might be a little more difficult, but you can fly on top of the gate. But be careful, because you can fall off the gate into the pin with the Rex. So you got to be careful. But this is another way of getting it done. And then again, you trank it, it falls down, you give it what it needs, kibble, narcotics, whatever it needs. Once it's tame, you're going to open up the door, you're going to walk out, and you're going to take that dino back to your base, and everything should be good. Again, you could do this pretty much anywhere. You can even do it if you, let's say, down a Quetzal, and you don't really have spike gates or something, and you want to just lock it in. feel free to just toss down some behemoth gates and gateways and doors and everything, and you should be good to tame it without any disruptions from outside, because the dinos outside cannot attack. Even if the head is poking through, the dinos outside cannot attack what is inside, because its body and the entity of it is actually inside the gate. So this is a very good way of capturing anything about anywhere. We've tested, and brackies do fit in the pins, so pretty much the biggest dinos in the game can fit in here, and the smallest can fit in here as well. We've done raptors, dire wolves, all that stuff, so pretty much anything you want can go in here. Just make sure, again, it's stone or you're using the behemoth gates. You cannot use just the dinosaur gateways. Those do not allow big dinos like brontos and brackies, and I don't even think T-Rexes will fit in that one. So you got to make sure that you're doing the behemoth gates, and you got to make sure that you can build enough of them that you can go out and do it in the wild. If you find a dino that you want to capture, it's the same way every single time. So I hope this video helped you and kind of helped you understand how to build the pin itself. It's pretty easy as far as like what you need to do. You just basically need the time. Also, if you're wondering, well, how do I build the higher stone windows, you're basically going to need a flyer to do it, or you're going to basically need to build things up to it to be able to add more. So my suggestion would be get an RG. You can even do it on a Pteranodon, and you basically fly up there and you place the walls as you go, and you're just going to place them around and keep going until you get to the top, or almost to the top of the behemoth gates. Once you're almost to the top of the behemoth gates, nothing is going to walk out. Even the brachy can't walk up over that wall. So hopefully this was helpful and help give you guys guidance on how to build these things, and also helped you understand that you can do this anywhere, and you can build a pin anywhere to capture any level of dino that you want. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Also, feel free to hit that red subscribe button, because again, we're going to have plenty more ARK content coming out. I got a whole sheet of things I want to do for you guys, so we're going to have a ton of ARK content coming out very soon. Till next time, Slacker out.